All right, always a pleasure that this guy is so kind to join us on Fridays during the regular season. Of course, the sports director at Fox 2, the voice of the Lions as well. The one and only Dan Miller kindly joining us on the show. First of all, Dan, did you enjoy the bye week?
I did, yeah. Was able to get away, got a little bit of sun. I got out of town for a little bit, so it was definitely nice. It was, it's funny. I talked to Coach about it earlier this week, and I think it's the same for everybody. And obviously, they're much deeper in it than I am, but it's great to get away. But then when you come back, you're like, man, let's go. There's 10
Yeah.
weeks left. Let's see what this season becomes, and it's exciting, and it kind of I think it recharges. I know my battery and their batteries are much more important, and I think they feel the same way.
Dan, it is amazing. One thing that hit me over the break, and this is meant to be the compliment that it is it is so cool to watch this franchise be, and I'm not joking when I say this, one of the premier franchises in the National Football League. Just the way that they operate, the smart things that they do. You have a stud. You have a guy that is projecting towards future Hall of Famer on your defensive line. You lock him up. You make him a Lion. You make everybody happy. That's what good franchises do.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way, Sean. It's something I tweeted earlier this week when Aiden signed the contract. It was like it's another day to appreciate this organization and the way that they do their business. And I think it's also because we've seen it done the other way for so long where it wasn't right. And there weren't players on this team that got many second contracts because draft choices would come in here and then flame out, and then they'd just kind of drift around the league or something like that. And there weren't guys that were lined up to get $1 billion. And think about that. They've paid out almost $1 billion now in second contracts. Now, key is a lot of those haven't kicked in. Most of them haven't kicked in. When they do, it starts to get a little bit more dicey, and they've got to figure things out. But I'm sure they have a plan for that, or they wouldn't be doing it. But yeah, I mean, look, it's we've seen teams try to build and draft and sign free agents and throw money around and win the league in March, and it just doesn't work. You have to draft, you have to develop, you have to make sure that your guys understand your system, the way you do things, and then you keep them. And if you can't keep them, you got a pipeline so that there's somebody ready to go behind them. And it really is, it's a long way of saying your point is an excellent one. This team does things the right way. It's fun to watch them conduct their business because they're winning, and they're winning, as we say, the right way.
Hey, Dan, welcome back. Hey, it's my favorite time of the year. I know it's yours, the trade deadline, just a few days away. And you hear all kinds of rumors out there, all kinds of players being available, so many teams that are already out of it. And it's so easy to call the Dolphins up, call the Jets up, call one of these franchises that have nothing left to give and grab a player. You hear Philadelphia, hey, Cleveland, what do you got? Maybe we want Myles Garrett. What do you think the Lions are going to do? What do you think they need to do, if anything?
Well, the Myles Garrett thing, I mean, that money would just be, you couldn't do that. I mean, I don't think Cleveland's going to trade him, and there's no way you could fit that money with his contract on your salary cap with everything they've done and everything they still need to do. Matt's great question, and I don't know the answer to that. And we were talking about this the other day, and you look at it and it's like, okay, we felt defensive end for a while, but Muhammad is playing well. Alim just came back in the middle. Aiden's playing great. I don't think it would be a high ticket defensive end if they go get one. You know, if maybe they say, okay, Hendrickson is at the end of his contract and you only have to pay him through this year and then it's done. But I do think the competition for all these edges is going to be so significant that it's going to be a really high price. And I don't know if it's going to be a price that they're willing to pay. So I don't know. It's we were talking yesterday. I was talking to Tim Twentyman over at the facility, and somebody that can play tackle, because you're so thin there. If something happens to Taylor or his shoulder doesn't hold up, you've seen that you're in a bit of a dicey situation there at backup tackle if something happens. So I would think that would be something that they would look at if there's a veteran out there that makes some sense. I guess I don't feel the need this year, Maz, that I felt last year to go out there and have to do something. This team's third in the league in sacks right now. They are getting after the quarterback. They're getting the quarterback on the ground, which was a main concern of mine coming into the season and a significant concern of mine last year. I just feel like this team's pretty well fortified right now. Doesn't mean they won't do anything. I just don't think necessarily the pressure is there where they had to do something like they did last year with Sedarius.
I was just hoping that they would maybe go out, and it's still time, and you hit it. I think a tackle, I think a defensive end, and I think something in the secondary would be good just because of what happened last year, and it could happen again. Knock wood, I hope it doesn't. But, just some depth pieces. I'm not talking about go get the big kahuna,
Yeah,
but
I think the difference too between this year and last year, Matt, is they're going to get healthier. They're getting
yeah.
DJ Reed back. They're getting Davenport back. So Rodriguez is back and practicing now, which gives you a little bit more depth on that defense. So I don't know that the answer is there at tackle right now. I do feel like with the way some of these backup guys have played, with the way Rock Yassin has played, that you feel pretty good about the fact that you've got Terry Arnold coming back this week. Amik Robertson has been playing. DJ Reed should be back probably next month at some point, November. And then your safeties, Kirby, don't know about him this week, but I don't think there's anything long-term there. Brian Branch obviously coming back. So, yeah, look, you explore everything. I mean, they don't like the term, but you are in a window here. You are in a window where you got a chance to win a Super Bowl. And we're adults. We can sit here and say that. That's exactly where they are right now. They're that good. But nothing's guaranteed, and you got to go out there and earn it. And if you have a chance to fortify your roster and put yourself in a little better position to withstand an injury, then you do that. And I'm sure Brad is talking to people on the phone.
Hey, Dan, good morning. Good to talk to you again. And make sure you got them touchdown calls ready for Sunday, because I think you're going to have your work cut out. But just wanted to maybe talk about the J-Mo situation, because a lot has been made of it. I was kind of surprised by it. He doesn't seem to care. But there was conversation around J-Mo just not getting enough production in this offense. And even Johnny Mo came out and said, as much as I failed him. What is your take on the J-Mo situation, and what do you think it'll look like going forward for the rest of the season?
I think as we've talked about it in the booth, I think a lot of what John Morton said yesterday is what we've seen. They've had some things called for him. There have been some times where Jared has missed him. There have been some times where the protection hasn't held up and they haven't been able to get it to him. I mean, there's definitely times where you see Jared drop back. His first look is downfield, and either he has to check it down or J-Mo's not open or whatever it is. But
he's had some drops too.
The kind of, I mean, some of it is on him as well. So I look, he's such a weapon that you've got to find some way to get the ball in his hands. And as I say that, for 5 weeks, they were the highest scoring offense in the NFL. They're now, after 2 weeks where they felt like they left some things out there against Kansas City and Tampa, they're the number 3 scoring offense in the NFL. So it's not like we're sounding an alarm here that, everything is bad and they've got to figure some things out or they're in big trouble. I just think we all can look at it and say, this guy is a touchdown waiting to happen. Find some way to get the ball in his hands. And I think they feel the same way. I think they look, Dan Campbell said he spent a lot of his time during the bye week, most of his time working on the offense. John Morton came out yesterday and said, I've failed him. I got to get the ball in his hands more. I got to figure out a way to do some things. So I think everybody is of the same mindset that what we've seen so far just isn't taking advantage of what he's capable of. So find some routes to get the ball in his hands, because regardless of where it is on the field, he makes one guy miss, he's got a chance to score a touchdown, whether it's a fly route, something on the crossing, slant, whatever it is. I don't think there's any argument from anybody involved that there's a piece of the offense that hasn't been operating at full potential that, man, if you can get him going, it just adds to what you're already doing.
No, I totally agree. And just wanted to ask you this really quickly. The Taylor Decker situation, it was something to monitor right before the bye week. Seemed like he had been playing hurt most of the season, and it's just one of those things in which he needed rest. Should fans be concerned at all about Taylor Decker's availability going forward for the rest of the season here?
I think he was full yesterday, which is good. full participant in practice after being limited, I believe, the day before. Yeah, I think there's reason to have some concern when you have an injury that apparently isn't going to go away, and you gave him several weeks off to rest it. There's obviously something there. So I do think that's the reason that when we were kicking some things around yesterday and just talking with Maz there, we said, backup tackle is something that I would definitely look at because you don't want to be in week 14 and all of a sudden something happens to Taylor, which hopefully it doesn't. But then you're all of a sudden caught going into the highest leverage games you got without feeling good about that blind side of your quarterback. So if somebody misses games and somebody is not practicing for a while, which has been the case for him earlier this year, yeah, I think you'd be foolish to say that there's not some reason for concern there. And it's clearly not something that it seems like is going to go away. It's something that they're just trying to manage. And when you're trying to manage something, it's sometimes can be hard to see coming out the other side. Might be able to deal with it the rest of the way, but certainly in the back of your mind, there's some concern that, hey, man, he's had to sit out some games before. That could easily happen again.
Dan Miller joining us this morning on the show. Love that shirt, Miller. I got to get me one of those. Hey, Dan, let's look at this from the Viking perspective. We were talking about this morning. Listen, let's cut the crap. Nothing's going well for them right now, offensively, defensively. But you have to look at it from KOC's perspective, from the Vikings' perspective. They have an opportunity to get right at the place of a tormentor of theirs. I think we all know the Lions have kind of had the Vikings number. They're looking at this as a get-right opportunity, no doubt about it, with the guy that they think can be their franchise quarterback. How do you see this one playing itself out?
Look, this is a team with veteran players that are really talented, and if you're ever going to see the Minnesota Vikings' best effort, this has to be it.
Yeah.
Because you've lost 2 in a row, you're in danger of falling behind a large group of teams that you're going to then have to run the rest of the season and try to catch. So this is their desperation game. This is the game that they have absolutely got to win. And look, the spread surprises me. I saw 8.5. I was like, come on, man. But I guess that's just a reflection of the way they've played. Sean, the wild card for me is I have no idea what to expect out of the quarterback. Zero. And I don't know how any of us could. Might JJ come out there and play like he played in one quarter against Chicago earlier this year? Yeah, he could. Can he come out there and hurt you with his legs and get first downs and move the chains and find a way to just kind of fight the ball down the field and get in the end zone, throw it up, give Addison a chance, give Jefferson a chance, and find a way to be in this game at the end where it's a one-score game? Yeah, he absolutely could. But could he also come out there and have turnovers or just look like he has looked for the bulk of the time that he's been on the field? That's a possibility as well. So that's the wild card for me. I have no idea. But the rest of it, the guys on this team, the veterans that we've seen with Minnesota for years, they're going to come out ready to play. They're going to come out hacked off. They've lost 5 in a row to this team. These two teams don't particularly care for each other. And I think it's going to be a really tight, hard-fought football game. I just think too much respect for KOC, too much respect. There's probably, if I think back on my time doing the Lions, there's like several guys that just, I look at them and I'm like, man, I don't want to deal with this today. It's probably Danielle Hunter, it's Aaron Rodgers, and it's Justin Jefferson. Because all you need to do is throw it up and he's got a chance. I don't care if it's 3rd and 30. The dude's a freak. And you've got to find some way to deal with him. Now, this secondary will be up for that challenge and they're ready to go. But just a massive amount of respect for this organization and the way they play. The Lions have won 5 in a row. Little statistic I like is against the Brian Flores defense that everybody talks about. They've faced it 4 times. They have scored at least 30 in all 4 of those games. You're going to need to do that again. And let me just throw some other numbers at you guys before I let you go here, just to keep an eye on. Last year against the Vikings, Jahmyr Gibbs, 38 carries, 255 yards, 5 touchdowns, 9 catches, 75 yards and a touchdown. 2 games against the Vikings last year, Jahmyr 47 touches, 330 yards, 6 TDs.
Okay.
That's pretty sick.
Okay,
Oh, my.
that sounds good to
Power
me.
set.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Hey, Dan, Lomas, TJ have you covered on the network. Of course, Fox 2 has you covered all day, starting with a Game Day Live and, of course, taking you well into the night as well. Dan, glad you're rested. Really looking forward to hearing your call and what should be an exciting rest of the season as well. Appreciate you as always, my
Have fun,
friend.
Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, boys. Thanks. Appreciate you.
See you, buddy.
All right, Dan Miller.